Hey, what's going on? This is Uzama with Nerdkanda, and we're going to talk about the recent release by the WWE. They released some notable people yesterday, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's start out with who they released. They released Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Ember Moon, David Boy Smith Jr., Eva Marie, Grand Metallic, Mia Yim, Lance Dorado, Scarlett Bordeaux, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, Jeet Rama, B Fab, Trey Baxter, Zeta Ramier, if I said that right. Um, and let's talk about it. Let's break this down because this is shocking for a lot of us wrestling fans, hardcore wrestling fans, because we thought Keith Lee was on the cusp of being the next big superstar. Um, we all recall when he was in the ring with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So we thought, oh, this man has to be on the cusp of superstardom. Where we go? I think I saw it. He has to be on the cusp. When you're in the ring with the big names for your company, you know that it's only a matter of time before you're able to be elevated to that level and have that. Triple H had faith in the man because they made him the NXT champion as well as the North American champion, and then he got called up. So everybody thought, okay, he's on that path to become the next big star. The thing that happens there, as soon as he get called up, they repackaged him. They changed his ring attire. They changed his music. It was no more limitless Keith Lee. They just took all that stuff away. So it left him pretty much in limbo. After that, he had an episode where they sent him to the performance center uh, to work on some things, work on his physique, and work on some of his wrestling moves. Like he just in wrestled a year and a half in NXT. Um, it was so strange. And then this year he battled COVID, and then after he battled COVID, they repackaged him again. They changed his name to Bearcat Keith Lee. And we're wondering, as a fan, it's hard for you to gravitate to somebody you see that's keep getting repackaged over and over and over again. It bothers us, especially as fans, because you want to gravitate to him so bad, but you don't know how is he presented. You could tell he fell out of favors with Vince, and you might think I feel like Vince did not believe in him, and we saw that. We saw it, and it really affected his character. And it just added on to the long list of WWE call-ups that they fumble horribly. The Viking Raiders is on top of that. Karrion Kross. This man was unstoppable in NXT. This man had you can tell that he checked all the boxes for a Vince McMahon wrestler. He's a big guy, real big guy, strong presence, power move set, and you can tell that when they called him up, he was the world champion in NXT. He was called up, still had the belt, not undefeated. He'd never been pinned in NXT. And when he got there to the main roster, the first thing that happened that he lost to Jeff Hardy. This is not the early 2000s. This is not the Hardy Boys. You lost to Jeff Hardy, who's at the end of the run. So, and another thing that was missing, they changed his whole ring attire. When he came out, he looked like carried out the Gladiator. They took away Scarlett Bordeaux, and if you've seen his original entrance in NXT, this man has presence. It was kind of Undertaker-like, or it was like the Demon Finn Balor. You felt like that entrance really got you ready for the wrestler, and they took all that away. It's hard for you when you have a wrestler who's been doing the same gimmick and they had the same character for a year and a half and whatnot. When they take that away, it's hard for you to, as a fan, gravitate to the character because you don't know how they're going to be presented, and how, if you've liked that original presentation, how can you enjoy it? What's the Gladiator? Where'd that come from? And you still trying to understand it because that's you could tell. I think he was the last call up that for the NXT right before the 2.0, because you said it was a disconnect. It was like it's a couple of wrestlers when they got called up, they were not presented the same. And Karrion Kross fell into that same thing. So we're wondering, where's Scarlett Bordeaux? Where is she? We felt like she had a role. She gave that man presentation. Wasn't even there. Was never explained. I thought they were holding her out for something major to happen to him where he might need an extra help, and then she come out the Raptors. Never showed up. The next big name was Nia Jax. Now, that did not surprise me. Nia Jax did not surprise me. She had a history of actually hurting wrestlers. And I don't mean like, oh, her finishing move. Like, she was really hurting people. We all remember the Survivor Series where she hurt Becky Lynch. And now we're not talking about, not pregnant Becky. We talking about Becky Lynch hot like fire. This is when she was on fire and you really dotted her eye. You dotted that thing. And she was a bloody mess. And that's unacceptable. Like, just in August, she had a match where she ain't able to do her job and come back and be okay. And you're not doing that. You're hurting people. Come on. For whatever reason it is, for whatever the reason, she kept hurting people. And that's just unacceptable. That's the only thing that didn't shock me. Well, a couple of people didn't listen and shock me. But it was some big shockers. Mia Yim, we haven't seen her on TV for a minute. Shocker. Like, it was like, okay, you called her up. They didn't fit in nothing. And when you don't fit anywhere, you get lost in the shuffle. Eva Marie, come on. How many times are we going to do this? She's not a wrestler per se. Wrestler. How can I put it? She looks great. She looks amazing. She has a big following. And they thought that was going to translate into good wrestling and good numbers, and it never did. It never took fruition. And I don't know how many times we can keep going to the well. Creativity is at an all-time low. Because it seems like the WWE, instead of coming up with new names and new people or taking the new talent they have and try to present it new, what they do? They repackage some people. Bring Eva back. You know what? Hey, man, all those bring Goldberg back. Bring back Brock Lesnar. So all these things are going with AEW. What you do, you just bring it up to old. And Eva Marie fell into that same category. Davey Boy Smith. It was a funny meme that they had a video. They were talking about Davey Boy Smith being released. CM Punk said it like 10 years ago, I believe, or a while ago. And he got released once again, and it's saddening. But Ember Moon didn't surprise me at all. It didn't surprise me. It's like she got called up. She was the ladies NXT champion, the women's champ. Came to the main roster, then went back to NXT. You don't move that way. She was moving backwards. And for whatever reason, she was missing something. I don't know what it is. Her finishing move is one of the most outstanding finishing moves that you will ever see, especially for women. And she was missing something. She had the tag team with Shotzi Blackheart. And then they called Shotzi up, but left Ember back in NXT. She never took to it for whatever reason. So now, and the rest is like B-Fab, they called up her faction from NXT 2.0. She literally just had a match a few weeks ago, called up the faction, and then you cut her. She is the only lady in the faction, and she gave the faction a real balance. It made it took some of the presentation away, and we were just wondering, what is this doing to the morale of the roster? Like, what is it doing? Like, if you're sitting there as a WWE wrestler, these people are getting cut and released for no reason. Keith Lee didn't do anything. Karrion Kross didn't do anything. These people literally were just presented, and then all of a sudden, they're released. And then they give the lamest reason why they released them. They said we're releasing them because of budget cuts. Last quarter, they made $256 million. Not in a year. In 3 months. That quarter. So what's the budget cuts? These people that they release, man, I think I was talking to my friend. I don't even think they equal $1 million with all these people put together. Everybody. I don't think it equaled $1 million. If it did, it barely surpassed it, not by much. And for them to release these people and say budget cut was the reason, you just had the Fox deal, billions. You just had you just sold or rent, whatever you want to call it, WWE Network, billions with a B. Then you had the Crown Jewel. They doing that for, I think, several years. Billions. So how can you say budget cuts? That's disturbing. If you're a wrestler at WWE right now, you have to wonder, do you trust them? Do you trust creative? Or do you think that you will be there long enough to ever see your character come to fruition? Vince make a lot of these not even questionable decisions. Questionable. You would love to see questionable. I would love to see questionable. This is just insane. This is asinine. Questionable decisions, like, okay, well, I understand where you're coming from, or maybe I don't agree with that decision, but I see where he was coming from. These decisions are just crazy. Like, it's like, I don't know. Hey, I'm going to repackage you. Like they did this with Aleister Black. They repackaged him. He cut a promo, and they released him. That's insane. Like, you're releasing people that you're packaging and presenting on TV. These people were just on TV and you're cutting them. And that's what the thing about the WWE. It's like these decisions make others believe that they're going to sell this thing. They're selling it. I think they're trying to trim the roster down. What's the lowest common denominator roster? What's the lowest? The skeleton crew that we can have to present this and then sell it. I'm telling you, I just have that feeling because these roster cuts does not make sense. It's just disheartening. It's really disheartening for anybody, for wrestling fans around. You're trying to get, like, whenever you see people come up, you're trying to gravitate to them, and then they're just releasing these people for no reason whatsoever. If I'm AEW, I'm going to have to kick the tires on some of these people. Had to get that conversation. I'm going to have a conversation with Keith Lee. I'm going to have a conversation with Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Eva Marie, just go back to what you were doing. Mia Yim, maybe. I think Mia Yim has so many connections that she might be able to finagle something. Ember Moon, that's interesting because I can see her elsewhere. Like, she really could strengthen up the women's division with the worker. She can work. It's just she's missing something. So AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, we out of business. So with that being said, we lost some people. Maybe they're probably gearing up to buy whatever the Ring of Honor buy that, or buy their video catalog. That'd be nice to add to the WWE Network. But these releases were sad. This is a sad day because these are not making sense, and the reason they're giving is even worse. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe button, and just be on the lookout for the next video, the next news. I'm trying to give you something that's very entertaining. We're going to talk about wrestling and talk about whatever in pop culture. Have a good day.